Hey everyone, I'm Maria Lawton, the Azorian Green Bean, and I am so excited to be here today to talk to you about a culinary adventure that I'm working on with AAA Travel as well as Rhode Island PBS Travel Club. It is something that it is really true to my heart to be doing this. It's a place that I love, and I can't wait to take you on that journey. But I want to say before we go any further that AAA Reservation Center will be available throughout this presentation that I'm doing. That if you have any questions for them along the way, please let them know what they are and they'll be able to help you with. As well as at the very end, I will go on live chat with you. So if you want to ask me any questions personally, I can do that as well. So I'm looking forward to this. Granted, I'd love to have you here in person so that I could show you everything and tell you everything, all that I want to do without being this way. But we understand why this has to be done this way. So before anything else, let's get started. And so as you know, Maria Lawton, the Azorian Green Bean, and what you also might know me as the host of Emmy-nominated PBS cooking and travel series called Maria's Portuguese Table. And thank you for all of those that always send me such wonderful messages every time that you see one of the episodes. But I want to also show you a little bit of my history, just so you know where I'm coming from. My family, this is my mother's side of the family and my father's side of the family. Quick pictures here. We're not going to give you my whole version of my history, but I can trace my family back 7 generations, back to Trás-os-Montes in the mainland. But here, my great-grandparents were the ones who immigrated into the Azores through Santa Maria, and then after into San Miguel, and that's where we've been for several generations. The picture I have here is a picture of my grandmother as well as my mother. This is the epitome of what Azorian or Portuguese, being Portuguese is all about. It's about the food, our family, all of the things that are really important to us and the things that we were grown up to believe and to have great pride in. And so these are the 2 women that molded me into who I am today. This is a picture, I don't know why I put this in here, when I was 6 years old. Not 6 years old, oh my God, when I was only 2 years old. I'm here on the lap of my grandfather, and it's just something where, again, I grew up around my grandparents, my maternal grandparents, and again, they molded me as well, and they taught me the pride of it is of being Portuguese and who we are in the history of the world. This is the village that my family lived and that I was born in, and my family still lives in there. And that is the village of Roadside de Lagoa. It is now a city, but growing up, it was always a village. The house that I was born in, this is the back side of the house. And it's still in the family, which is wonderful, so I still get to see it. This is the village, Rosário. This is the church that belongs to the village, and this church, since it was built, belonged to my family. My grandparents, my parents were married there. I was baptized there, and my family who was living there, which is pretty much all of my father's side, this is still their church that they belong to, and we'll get to see that on our trip. I wanted to show you these pictures, and one of them is one of our last visits we had to San Miguel at my cousin João's house with my family. And this is a typical dinner. This is not, a big, hoo-hoo party kind of thing. Well, it was a party because we were there too. We make it a party. But this is a typical family, friends coming over. And at a Portuguese table or Azorian table, there is always a chair. There is always a chair ready for anyone coming in to come in and sit down. And that is our motto. That is the way that we're raised and that we feel. Our door and our table is always, there's always a place for someone. And hence the reason I wrote my cookbook. And that was after my parents had passed and my grandparents had passed, I wanted to make sure that recipes as well as certain stories didn't go away. And it's very important for anyone out there to preserve your family histories. I totally make sure that I tell that to everyone. You need to write them down. When we get on this plane heading to San Miguel. We're going to get on a plane. It takes 4.5 hours to get from Boston. We leave out of Boston. We land in Punta Delgada. It is a red eye. We get there very early in the morning. You'll have time to rest. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you things that we're going to see while we're there. I'm not going to go day by day what we're going to be doing. But one of the things that we are going to be doing is we're going to be going to an indoor farmer's market, which to me, you're going to see the farmer and you're going to see the vegetables that are in season. And that's really important. We eat what's in season. So there you go. Another beautiful, there are fruits. Oh, just gorgeous stuff. One of the plantations that we're going to be going on, and we're going to see how pineapples are grown in the Azores. Yes, pineapples are grown, and they're grown in hothouses. But I won't go too much into detail, but it takes 2 years for a pineapple to be fully grown and that you get to enjoy it. And you'll never have any pineapple like that one. Here they are for sale that you'll be able to bring home. Another thing I want to mention real quickly is everywhere we're going to go, we're going to see cows. There'll be cows. There's, 2 cows for every person in San Miguel. And they produce wonderful milk, which in turn produces wonderful yogurt, ice cream, cheese, butter, you name it. And cheese is the thing I want to talk about. You're going to be tasting all different kinds of cheeses when you're there. Besides the DOP cheese of Saint George, which is pretty much everyone knows about, you'll find cheeses that are infused with herbs that are made in the Azores, that are made in San Miguel. You'll find cheeses that are made in all the different islands, as well as you're going to find fresh cheese that's made there. And it's made with fresh cheese, and I have red pepper showing you that they usually serve it with that over it. And you're going to see that cheese available to you at every refreshment. It'll be for breakfast, it'll be for a snack, it'll be before lunch, it'll be before dinner as an appetizer. This is just a picture of a typical breakfast. And this is your breads, your sweets, your cheeses, your butters, your jams, and your coffee. One of the things I wanted to show you that we're going to be going into is we're going to go to Villafranca and we're going to see how these delicious cupcakes are made. We're going to meet the family that makes it. We're going to see it being made and we're going to taste it, hopefully warm right out of the oven. I wanted to show this cupcake here. It's called milk tarts because in the islands, now we can get pastel de nata, but growing up, that is not what we had. That was not what was available. Because we had so much milk, we used to have milk tarts, and hopefully you'll get to taste that when we're there. One of the things that you're going to find throughout your stay is there's liqueurs, different fruit-infused liqueurs that I hope that you get to try all of them, as well as different jams. Jams are not just for fruits, they also do vegetables. So you'll find carrot jam or pumpkin jam, as well as tomato jam, and as well as all the other different fruits. But it is something that really you're going to have to taste your way through the Azores or San Miguel when we're there, all the different flavors that you're going to taste. One of the seasonings that you're going to be introduced to is safflower. And we do not use saffron. It's a very expensive type of seasoning, but we use safflower. And we'll explain more about how this is grown and how it's picked by hand, and you'll get to taste the food infused with it. Bacalhau, salted cod. Salted cod is, or I should say codfish, is the national dish of Portugal. And but what you might not know is that cod is not fished in the waters of Portugal. Codfish is from either Norway or Newfoundland in Canada. But throughout your stay, you're going to see different dishes that you usually don't see around here in the United States that are made with cod. And that could be from little tartlets to little dough-filled delicious treats, to small breads with, again, codfish in it, as well as one of my favorite dishes that my cousin makes, which is cod with cream. It is out of this world, and hopefully we'll get to taste that when we're there. Fish, fresh fish. You're going to have a lot of fresh fish available to eat because we are an island and we're surrounded by water. But the one thing I want to make sure that I tell you is that when you order fish, most likely you'll get a fish with bones, with the head, with the eyes, with the tail. So some restaurants will remove all that, but one of the things they don't remove is bones. So you need to make sure that you know that when you're ordering your fish. The other thing you're going to be offered is octopus. Octopus is something that just recently, in my older age, that I've decided that I like and I want to enjoy and eat, because every time I ate it, it was very rubbery, but it was because it wasn't cooked well. And so again, hopefully you'll get to try some new things, and if octopus is it, I would highly recommend the roasted octopus. Limpets or lapish is another thing that you're going to find there, and some people eat that raw, and some eat it with butter and lots of garlic, and that's the way I like it. Coffee. I want to talk about coffee and how it really is part of our day of eating coffee, drinking coffee. And this is a way of ordering coffee, which we'll go in detail when you're with me and we're all together. But if you like a latte, it's galon, and we'll practice that. And you don't want to order Americano. Every American thinks you order Americano, you'll get an American kind of drink. It's not. It's a watered down, diluted espresso with hot water. It is gross. It's disgusting. It's not something that you want to have. So they offer it, but we're not going to be fooled. We are not going to order an Americano. We will order a café, and we will order a galon, but we will not order that. But we'll go further. And cappuccino is cappuccino. They'll have that too. This is one of the last times that I was there with my husband, and as you can see, all the outdoor cafes are all with coffees, little desserts. You spend your time. One thing, if you go off on your own and you're in a cafe or in a restaurant, I need to tell you that you will not be given a check and rushed out. You literally have to ask the waiter for that check, because as far as they're concerned, you're sitting there, you're enjoying your time. They are not going to rush you. That would be rude. So I want to make sure that everyone knows that, because there's sometimes here in America, we're like, oh my God, they gave us the check. When are they going to give us the check? Where would we go? It's not that way. Everything as a very slow, calm pace. I wanted to show coffee beans because it's hard to imagine, but in islands of the Azores, it's volcanic islands, we grow pretty much a lot of different things. So one of the things people are not aware of is that we grow coffee. Majority of people have coffee beans growing in their backyard, and they only produce enough for their family and friends. This one here is located in Azores, even though we're not going to Azores, not this time, but we will another time. Cafe Noons, he produces enough coffee for the island as well as his own cafe, and that's Cafe Noons. And I'm hearing that some of it is also making its way here into out of the islands into other spots. So the other one thing that I want to mention is Shagoriana. So the morning and the afternoon might be, or early afternoon might be coffee, but later afternoon and further on, it is tea. Tea is what we enjoy and what we have. And Goriana is a 7th generation tea purveyor, and we're going to tour this place, and we're going to meet the owners of it. Again, like I said, 7th generation. These are all the tea growing, and of course me enjoying some tea. Tea would not be complete unless you have some biscuits with it or some cake, as well as these little desserts that I love, which are called cornflower spikes or carrilhos, which is delicious, as well as certain Maria biscuits, whether they're vanilla or chocolate. And speaking of afternoon tea, this is one place that my husband and I went in Cidade. It's called Quinta do Chá Poege, which is an amazing tea, which is very different. It's an herbal tea, very in the mint family, but we had, instead of desserts, we had savories. So it's either one or the other in the middle of the afternoon. I had to show these eggs because eggs get put in almost every dish, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And you're going to find steaks with eggs on top. You're going to find soups with eggs in it. You're going to find different things. So don't be surprised. It's our way of added protein to every dish. One of the places we're going to go is True, I really love, and even though I was not from Fudernish, I feel like I belong in Fudernish. Fudernish is the mouth of the volcano. As I said before, we're our volcanic islands, and there is a microcosmic different temperature as well as weather that happens in Fudernish that's very different than the rest of the island. And it's always warmer, a few degrees warmer in Fudernish than anywhere else in the island. So when you get there, we are going to soak in geothermal pools that are heated by volcanic heat. We are going to taste mineral waters, different types of mineral waters with different properties on it, as well as we're going to be eating the cozido, which I showed this really quickly. The food is made in pans that are put into the ground, and the earth's pressure, it's an earth's pressure cooker, will cook the cozido. Cozido now is made in different ways, not only a meat dish, but now they make fish dish as well as vegetarian. We're going to see lots of different breads. This is me making bread, or I should say sweet bread, the last time I was there. We made it in a wood-fired oven. Hopefully we'll get to see that as well. And this is the end result with the egg. We made it for around Easter time. You're also going to see different cornbreads. You're going to see a lot of different wheat breads, as well as hearty rye breads, as well as breads stuffed with meats. I'm trying to say this as fast as I can. One of my other favorite breads is boule de sertão, which has no yeast in it, and you'll get to see that and enjoy it. What I wanted to show here too was the vineyards and the wines of the Azores. And I have to tell you that wines in the Azores are created differently than they are here in the United States. Because of the location where the islands are, you're going to have a lot of wind, a lot of sea or salt in the air. And what happens is all the grapes, instead of being planted high, are planted very low to the ground. And they're surrounded by basalt or volcanic stone. So what happens during the day, the sun heats up the stone, and at night when it gets colder, the heat of the stone kind of heats up or continues to heat up the vines. So it produces a very delicious wine. And this picture here is in my grandfather's vineyard. And these are grapes that were picked and to make our homemade wine. I'm showing you Pico because Pico is the one place, or the place that produces the most amazing wines out of all of the Azores. But the majority of the wines that are produced in the Azores really never make its way to the American table. So what I want to make sure that while you're there is that you get to enjoy those wines that you wouldn't be able to enjoy anywhere else. And see, again, in Pico, this is again Pico. Again, we're not going there this time, but we will another trip. I promise you that. And it's the same thing, very low to the ground, the walls of basalt stones, and it produces a different wine. And I can't wait for us to taste that and be together on that. So now we've come to our end. Thank you again for taking the time to listen to all this, to listen to this trip. I hope now that you're all ready to pack and take this trip with me. If you would like more information on this trip, please reach out to the AAA Reservation Center. There should be either Susie Richards or Andrea Ross available to answer those questions for you. And again, don't forget, a reminder that I will be on right after this for a live chat. So if you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to answer it for you. And once again, thank you again. And until next time, bye now.